stabilized and will be legislated, probably down the road. And then more importantly, the EU, as you mentioned, came through and said, hey, we're going to, stabilize things. Spanish yields dropped. You guys are in the mortgage industry and finance. Popularity drives the price of bonds. We can talk about it later on, but really when you see these Spanish yields go down, it means everyone starts buying their bonds again. They're going to be in business. That's really the...
Is that anything like Spanish fly?
Oh, man.
Mark.
Well, we're all on our way to
family
Tijuana.
show. Family show.
Okay. Yeah, red Solo cups aren't a family show. I don't want to say, but... Yeah.
One of the reasons we wanted to have you on also was we've been receiving emails from people who are asking what a 529 plan is. And I know it's not a signal for football hike, So can you explain what is a 529 plan?
520 plan, it's, let's keep it simple. It's a way to save for college on a tax-deferred basis. The greatest benefit that we've seen out of financial product probably in the last 20 years is the fact that if you use that money to pay for a college expense, you pay no tax on any gains in that product. So if you put $10,000 away in 2000 and it's worth $20,000 today and your child goes off to college and you pay that college $20,000 for tuition expense, living expenses, books, other items that you have, boom, that $20,000 comes out tax-free.
And what kind of limitations? I mean, it doesn't have to be graduate school, or can it be graduate school? Can it be, both undergrad and graduate?
Well, that's a great question. This is still bantered around a little bit. Really what it's supposed to be for is college, but colleges are secondary educational institutions. So I've talked to people who have kids that have gone to culinary school, some vocational colleges. They can use the money for those things. What this thing was utilized for initially were grandparents passing money down to grandkids. And years ago, you remember the old UGMA or UTMA accounts that everyone had?
Uniform Gift to Minors Act.
Right, and here's grandma's Pac Bell stock, here's grandpa's Pacific Gas and Electric stock, which are great stocks, pay a dividend. But if you sold them, you paid a tax.
Yeah.
And if you sold them, under the age 18, there's a kiddie tax. But more importantly, the kid could go buy some Spanish fly with his new Ferrari, his girlfriend, down in Tijuana. The money was not controlled. This way, it's meant for specific expense. And more importantly, the trustee or the person who gifts the money, grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, controls the money. So buy and hold, if all four of us were brothers and someone didn't go to college, we could take his 529 and apply it towards someone else's college expense.
I mean, it's sort of like that HSA, the health savings account, where you get a tax deduction and then it builds up tax-free, as long as you use it for medical expenses.
Right.
When it goes in, is it avoiding taxes at the time, like an IRA? Or?
Like you get a tax deduction?
Actually not. You don't get a tax deduction. Okay. So
it's after tax dollars you put into the...
After tax dollars, and they grow tax deferred though.
So it's like a...
It's like a Roth.
Like a Roth IRA.
Is it tax deferred or tax free?
It
that builds up. Because like when you use it for secondary education, you don't pay the taxes on the money.
Right, it's tax deferred buildup.
Okay.
And the money comes out tax free.
Tax free. Okay.
Now, there are three
That's
states.
even gooder.
Yeah. Now, I know this isn't a part of our broadcast. In Pennsylvania, Kansas, and Missouri allow you to take a state. They allow you to take a state deduction for contributing to a 529, but it doesn't affect
if you go to their state university.
California's they don't give you any kind of deduction.
Well,
no, California does not. So it.
We don't believe in education.
No, the struggle has been that people don't understand how these work or how to get them, and they're you can get them from your advisor, you can get them from any local broker dealer, and really what happened was states sponsored these things. So you have the state-sponsored 529 plan. So fund companies contracted with states to manage the money. That's what gets confusing. Like you pick any fund company out there in the complex. It could be an index fund or a managed stock fund. It's like, well, I'm with this company. Well, no, that company's based in this state. It could be state. Your 529 could be specific to the state of Missouri. It doesn't matter. You can go to school anywhere or live anywhere and still contribute to that 529. And that's what's confusing for a lot of people. It's like, well, who am I with and what's going on? It just doesn't matter.
And then grandma and grandpa can decide where to invest the funds, right? Be it,
there are certain there's certain investment choices in there, and the big thing is you can't buy individual securities. You can go into a spot where you can be totally allocated towards securities or totally allocated towards bonds if you want to. But the other thing that most people dealt with were these age-based portfolios. And that's where a lot of confusion came up, especially around 2008. Even if you're enrolled in college and of the age of maturity, like let's say you invested in the 2012 fund when these first came out, and now it's 2012 and the market drops 10%, your funds will drop 10% even though you're in college. The money's still invested. People say, oh, gee, once you hit the age of maturity, when you're supposed to go to college, the money's all in cash or it's all in bonds. Not true. It's still invested if it's in those core portfolios. And that's a big mistake a lot of people make.
So we're talking about 529 plans, and you said they're similar to a Roth IRA, meaning you make contributions and the money is supposed to be used for education, and it can grow in there tax-free if it's used for education. Can you set up an account with, like, for example, I have a Roth IRA account. Can I go to that company, the custodian, and do they do 529 plans, or is it who do I have to go to set up a 529 plan?
We'll have to be completely compliant, so you have to talk to your tax advisor before making any decisions. But you cannot roll over a Roth IRA into a 529 plan.
No,
but you can talk to the same provider.
Yeah, same provider.
Talk to the same provider, but you can't take the Roth money and put it into a 529 plan.
Yeah, so I guess do most companies, if they can set you up in an IRA or be it a Roth or whatever, can they also do 529 plans? I guess
for the most part, yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
So, yeah,
absolutely.
I was confused about the state sponsorship and whether you had to do it through some state of California website or something really.
You can. The best resource is savingforcollege.com because they have a listing on every single 529 plan. They also cover the Coverdale Savings Account, which we don't need to go into. Right now, it's another form of saving for college as well. But that website, again, savingforcollege.com, is a great resource to research anything that's been offered to you or any ideas you might have on 529 investing.
Okay, we're in studio with Lou Botmal, who's a registered investment advisor, and when we cut to commercial, we're going to cut to a commercial break. When we come back, Lou's going to still be in the studio here. We're going to get into other retirement type vehicles. Here is the first trivia question. Laverne and Shirley was a spin-off of what TV show? Hold on, don't answer yet, guys. The first 3 callers with the correct answer are going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Laverne and Shirley was a spin-off of what TV show? 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, your email address, and speak slowly and spell out your email for us 1 letter at a time. And don't touch that dial because we are going to be right back.
Awesome.
Good job.
Good first segment.
Yeah. Good. Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
All right. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money, Robert Chip of RPM Mortgage. I'm just going down the list here, and Lou Botmal, who's a registered investment advisor. When we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this trivia question. This is TV spin-offs is the theme. Laverne and Shirley was a spin-off of what TV show?
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Okay, Mark, go ahead and answer.
Happy days.
Correctamundo, as the Fonz would say. All right, and Lou, one of the reasons, again, I wanted to have you in the studio here was because I received an email from a listener who said, you know, I'm age 60 and I lost a lot of money in the stock market from 2008 to 2010, and how do I go ahead and recoup that? Now, Mark and I were talking off air that, you know, I'm 52 and a third. So, do you have any advice for us 52 and a thirds?
Yeah, right.
And also the 60-year-old, what kind of retirement advice do you give?
Well, it's first of all, it's challenging. I respect everyone's participating in the market and what's happened. I'm concerned like you are. As an advisor, it's tough talking to clients on a daily basis who have lost money, you know, with some investment decisions that didn't work out. And you know, we're all in this together. So, you know, my encouragement, first of all, is to start talking to people, not family members, but advisors and other people.
I saw the paper this week that there was a poll of who plans on retiring at age 65, and like 74% of the respondents said they were not.
Oh, yeah, that's
unbelievably high percentage.
That goes right into the point. I mean, really, when it comes to
what percentage of them had a job? Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, a lot of them had to go back to work.
Yeah, no, this idea of a retirement plan, especially after the age of 60, I mean, let's face the facts. You know, the economy's not lying to us right now. With very low interest rates, very low CD rates, there's not a lot of secure investments out there that people are used to and say, well, geez, if I just park this in the bank or in this single investment, I'll receive a nice income. For those who have lost money, the big thing is this. If you're going to live 3 years, don't worry about it. If you're going to live 25,
Just have fun.
Sorry, got to be direct.
Yeah, right.
Well, you know what? You make a good point. It's not just the fact that people lost money, but interest rates are so low that it's not that they can afford to just have X amount of dollar unless you're, you know, got a couple of $1 billion just sitting around in a 1% account, that's fine.
And that goes directly to my point. It really is a function of getting a plan together. You know, how much am I going to get in Social Security? Do I have a Medicare supplement? You know, what am I going to retain my home? Am I going to travel? What extraordinary expenses could occur? Do I need a new roof, a new car eventually? All these things will come up. But the biggest thing we just joked about here, 53 and a half or 59 or 69 or 78 nowadays, is people are living longer. So the struggle is this. People are used to the sunset provision that everyone who has a firefighter, police officer, or government employee relative, oh, you just flip a switch and you retire. The income turns on and are all ready to go. Us as individuals now who are responsible for our own retirements through this 401k program we have or other retirement vehicles are really stuck with how much money do I have and what can I do to make it last as long as possible.
Well, I've already done my plan. I figured out I can retire at 147.
Perfect.
Or it's like my friend said, his life was perfect as long as he died in the next 18 months.
Well, you know, that's why the popularity of all these programs for, you know, how to make money on the side, everything from multi-level marketing to just, you know, how to get in business for yourself, how to do something entrepreneurial for extra income, how to make money on the internet. I mean, that's the stuff that's never been more popular than it is today for that very reason, that we're trying to catch up. You know, those of us whose 401ks, as people like to say, turned into 201ks, or
Right.
our real estate portfolio is not what it used to be, and we're all looking around for ways to make
I mean, I figured I could make a lot of money by taking out a life insurance policy on myself. But then I realized that I can't be my own beneficiary, and no, that wouldn't work too well, would it?
No, you cannot. It's unfortunate. I mean, and really the key is this, is that if you participate with those that are participating in the economy, you will eventually, not immediately, eventually with patience, be rewarded with investment returns that mimic the economy. And that's the big step that everyone forgets. Everyone wants to be in the market one day, out the next. Geez, if it's going up, I'm happy. Like this week, at the end of this week, I should say. You know, a few weeks ago, oh, I'm extremely upset and frustrated. That's not investing. You know, that's tactical investing, which is a whole other conversation we have another time. But really what it's about is sticking with the plan, sticking with those companies that are going to be around, that people are going to do business with. We're going to brush our teeth. The lights are on. Oh my goodness, you know, those are two people we're going to be working with in the future, no matter what happens to the economy. And maybe invest there, or work with an advisor and say, well, geez, I can't risk all my money, but maybe my allocation should be set differently. Like, you know, if I have $100,000, I can't go below 50. You know, if I go below 50, I'm really going to have a problem. Okay, well, then let's take, you know, $40,000 or $50,000 and put it in some type of income-producing asset that works for you. And then take the other 50, invest it maybe in dividend-producing securities or other things that aren't super risky but will provide some return and participate in the economy. Because the bad news here is costs are going up. Interest rates are going to change. And if you don't prepare yourself, it's going to affect you down the road.
What kind of income investments do you like nowadays?
Well, if you're in a taxable account, you know, there are municipal bonds, both on a federal level, you know, bonds that are located around the United States. There's bonds located here in the state of California. Most are worried about the fact that California doesn't have a great balance sheet right now, which is very true.
Yeah, but it's like, sort of like Chrysler. You know, when they were having big problems in the late 70s, I remember telling my dad, you know, he was worried about, you know, because I said, hey, I think we should buy Chrysler, because I can't imagine the government letting them go bankrupt. There are too many employees. Same thing with California. You know, I don't think the federal government's going to allow the entire state of California to default on its general obligation.
What about individual municipalities? I can say that.
Yeah,
that's the one
we
that's-
had the news at Stockton this week, and
Yeah.
that's a headline. That's a headline that's going to be thrown in everyone's face for a while. Why invest in munis with this problem? So, Lou, why'd you bring it up? Well, one of the main reasons is this: by mandate, the money that comes out of the Treasury of the state of California has to go pay off municipal interest first, before it does many other things. So, before people get paid their paychecks as government employees, municipal bond interest gets paid.
That's
So you're pretty
general obligation bonds.
general obligation
Yeah,
bonds, and also some
revenue
city bonds. Now,
Okay.
granted that Stockton's a problem. Other communities like Stockton have had issues, but by and large, there's a lot of, you know, one quote a lot of managers use is, I don't buy anything that's outside of 7 miles of the coast of California, because that's older real estate in places where people are going to pay their taxes for keeping the water on, keeping the toilets
Well,
flushing.
Vallejo did file bankruptcy.
Yes.
And I haven't really followed it recently, but you know,
Yeah, I don't know what
anyone
happened with that.
It still exists, right? Vallejo's still there? I know I drive through it.
I
when
think
go
I
to
drove
it.
through it, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Vallejo does exist. Stockton's going to exist. They're going to refinance themselves and come back, hopefully financially stronger. The big key is this to remember. Talking to municipal managers, and I had a conversation with a couple last week. Look at what happened in San Jose on Election Day. Okay.
What happened on
what's that?
The pension reform bill that got passed.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone talks about the unfunded pension commitment
Sure.
by municipalities and the reason not to buy municipal bonds. And let me tell you, there is a storm brewing across the country, and we're all responsible for it. You can't.
You're responsible. I'm not
Well, no,
responsible.
well, you can't. Here's my point. I'm being too.
blaming me.
I'm being too serious.
You talking to me?
I'm being too serious here, but in the end, retirement benefits have increased over the last 20 years with a great record market. Now the market's not doing so well, and they're going back saying, "Hey, we got to reduce benefits." Everyone's like, "It's a contract. It can go up. It can't go down."
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's so. I think I read what was it? Rhode Island had another referendum. Other states, and what they're saying is, stay tuned. Like Obamacare, this is going to change. So
just like Social Security. I mean, I honestly do not count on that for when, they'll change the dates. They'll change the fact that, if you have more than $3 in your account, I'm sorry, you're rich. You're not going to get. I mean, something's going to change because you can't just keep.
Well, when they
getting
started
money.
Social Security at the retirement age of 65, I think that was the life expectancy for people.
Right.
So if they
So
had
it's-
gone back to what its original plan was, you wouldn't be getting it till you were 70 or 75, and
Or 85.
if it
Right.
clicked it up to 100,000, which is probably like John Beresford Tipton's millionaire at the time, then Social Security would go up to $1 million.
Well, I had a
so-
client who, her